forward? Like, what effect does that have in the locker room?
Yeah, I tend to think it doesn't have much of an effect. I think the issue last year was the team was young and developing, and that was why they had the problems. It wasn't about the interpersonal stuff. I think sometimes that interpersonal stuff gets amplified by the fact that you're struggling on the field. And I think the same thing could happen this year, but they're better this year. Those young guys have stepped up. I think the interpersonal issues that they have potentially between the quarterback, or I guess not potentially, that they actually have between the quarterback and the receiver won't be a problem. You can have beef off the field. Doesn't mean that you can't produce on the field.
I think it affects you on the field. I think that when AJ addressed this, if it is a personal issue, he didn't address it, say, hey, what's the problem? Hey, we need to get better, like, personally between us in our relationship. No, it comes into passing. Now he feels like if there is an issue, you're not throwing me the ball because we have an issue. We have to throw the ball. I had 4 targets and 4 catches, and I didn't get the ball enough. So that's where it starts to affect the on-the-field product. Last year, it was something similar. You remember when A.J. Brown had his blow-up on the sideline? It was very animated, and it was the first inkling we got that there was an issue on this team. And then, in my opinion, this offense kind of suffered because it seemed like they were starting to force the ball in that direction in times when it wasn't warranted. So I do think the interpersonal relationships, if that is the case, the way that Brandon Graham described it, can affect what happens on the field.
I think that this team is significantly better than they were last year. And I don't think part of why they fell apart last year was because they were trying to force the ball to AJ. I think that is not what you want to do. You never want to try to force the ball to anyone. You want it to come organically. Do you want to see AJ Brown get more targets and get more involved? Undeniably. And I get that. And that is a process of trying to figure out. But at the same time, this Eagles team is humming along. The run game has been huge. You even had many of the O-line and captains going to Sirianni and saying, we want to run the ball more, right? We know everything that Saquon Barkley has been doing. And that's the way it is. A.J. Brown in 22 got to be the king of the castle, shine bright, and he got paid for it. He got paid big time for it. Now, the team has evolved a little bit. They have this bully O-line. They have this great run game. Even Gainwell, he'll get a few carries and still break out for some huge runs. Like that's what makes this team special. What makes this team special is not necessarily the passing game. It's still there. It's still a huge part of the game, but it's not as important. And that's okay. This isn't the A.J. Brown Eagles. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. All right. I mean, you got to put things in context. And I think that this team is more mature than they were last year. They have better leadership at this point as well. Having Kellen Moore, they have a better defense with Fangio. Like, all of those things go a long way. Even in terms of dealing with some of this stuff, even Sirianni having someone who's obviously like a true wise old vet, a Fangio, even having him to talk to Fangio about little things like this, Fangio will offer great wisdom. Obviously Fangio's defense and all that, but Fangio has been around for literally like 100 years. So it's like there's nothing that he hasn't seen at this point in terms of locker rooms and all of that. And so even having someone like Fangio there to just have to be a soundboard for Sirianni goes a long way, because it will stop and start with Sirianni in terms of how to manage this and how to kind of move past all of this. I do not think this is going to be some big thing that will just kind of cripple them and have them fall apart. But yeah, when you got these big egos and all these all-pro players and all of that, a lot of it is balancing out a lot of different personalities, and not everyone always buys in, and it absolutely can be a problem. And it works when you have a strong quarterback and a strong leader. We saw some of those issues happen with the Kansas City Chiefs, with Rashee Rice, with Travis Kelce, and yet when you have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and a great defense with Spags, like, you can endure it. You can kind of navigate it a little bit. But that's why I always point out, like, you had Rashee Rice literally screaming at Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I mean, like, that's wild seriously, that is really wild when you think about it, that you have the audacity to think that you should be yelling at Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, in the Super Bowl, your quarterback. Like, what could you possibly yell at him for? Like, that's just like insane. So of course, anything less than that, you're going to see some of these issues like AJ Brown and and Hurts. And now there's a lot of I see a lot of people talking about saying like, oh, everything's fine with AJ and Hurts. This is blown out of proportion. This, that. Look, and there's a video of them like praying together and stuff, and they eat lunch together. And it's like, guys, there's obviously something going on. Okay, there's obviously something going on. I mean, that just can't be denied. It just can't be denied. We can try to sweep it under the rug and all of that stuff. It's obviously something. I'm not saying it's everything. I've been consistent on that, but it is an obnoxious thing to have to deal with. And I've been saying it's not so much that what AJ Brown is saying is wrong, it's how he said it, how he went about it, because there is a way to go about it without anyone knowing. So again, so when people say like, oh my God, why are we talking about this? This is blown out of proportion. Media is trying to make something out of nothing. Blame AJ Brown and Brandon Graham for that matter. Because none of this needed to happen this way. None of this needed to happen this way. And with better leadership from AJ and being able to manage his emotions better, nobody would know at all. Nobody would know at all. So again, it stops and starts with AJ at that point. So if you're frustrated that there's clips all around, on TV and YouTube and all of that, and if you're like, oh my God, this is so annoying, blame AJ. It was his media interview that caused this. Undeniably. Just him sulking alone, because people were saying, oh, well, he didn't really say much. It was his energy. It was his words. It is what he said. He could have gone about it in a completely different way, and you wouldn't have had any of this. Any of this. But this is just the way how teams have to evolve and go. So like I said, I do think that they'll make a conscious effort to get AJ involved. And now, what Hawks said that they tried to force AJ the ball last year and things kind of went awry. Well, they didn't have a good coordinator. They didn't have a good run game with Saquon. It was a decent run game. I'm not going to act like they had a trash run game. They obviously still had a great O-line and all of that. They most definitely did not have a good offensive coordinator. So I do believe that they'll be able to try to get AJ Brown more integrated in a way that won't take away from what they're doing already. Okay? My only fear about all of this is actually not that they're going to try to force him the ball and now they're going to get turnovers and stuff like that. My one fear is that they're going to maybe try to make a conscious effort to get AJ the ball. Maybe he gets it. Maybe he puts up some yards, some targets, gets some touchdowns. And then it's like, see, I told you so. And it's like, you guys are doing things wrong. Look what we can do now. And that's when you kind of start to kind of get that divide a little bit. And, fortunately, like I said, I think they have the leadership in the locker room. I think they have the maturity and the experience. I think they have, fortunately for the Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon Barkley is just like the ultimate team player, has an awesome personality. So I don't think he's going to care. He's not going to be like, what the heck? You want to take, touches away from me? Like, I don't think he's going to think about that either, because he wants to win. And so, yeah, this is obviously a situation to kind of keep your eyes on and to watch unfold. And now they're going up against a tough Pittsburgh Steelers team, make no mistake about it, especially that defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come out of this game and, where things go from here. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles and AJ Brown and this ongoing soap opera? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.